So in this explainer, we're going to dig into one of the most powerful forces in our lives, one that's usually running in the background. We're talking about that deep, deep human drive for status. You know that feeling, right? You're just scrolling through your phone, maybe talking to a friend, and then bam, this wave of anxiety just hits you. This feeling like you're somehow being left in the dust while everyone else is getting promotions, buying houses, and just, well, winning. And what's so wild is that this feeling has nothing to do with what you actually have. It's all about who you're comparing yourself to. I mean, even a billionaire like Bill Gates isn't immune because he's just looking at his peer group. The goalposts are always moving, and that's really the heart of the issue. So let's give this thing a name. We're all playing this kind of status game, whether we like it or not really. It's just baked into the way our society works, and it has some pretty serious consequences for our well-being. Yep, it's called status anxiety. It's that nagging worry that we just aren't stacking up to what everyone else thinks is successful. And if you drill down to the emotional core of it all, what do you find? Shame. That awful fear that some part of us is just not good enough. And look, this isn't just in your head. This anxiety drives real-world behavior, and it can be incredibly destructive. It pushes us to buy stuff we can't afford, to rack up debt just to look the part. It makes us work until we're completely burned out, and it can lead to some serious psychological distress. It's a crazy high price to pay for just trying to keep up. Which brings us to the big question, right? If this is all so damaging, why can't we just, switch it off? Why is our sense of who we are so completely tangled up with what other people think? Well, the answer isn't here in the modern world. It's way, way back in our evolutionary past. The best way to think about it is like this. Your brain is running on ancient software. It's an operating system that was designed for survival in a world that looks absolutely nothing like the one we live in today. And if we can understand that code, we can start to understand our modern anxieties. And this whole idea comes from a field called evolutionary psychology. The basic concept is that the way we think and feel today is a direct result of what helped our ancient ancestors survive and pass on their genes thousands and thousands of years ago. Our brains are basically haunted by the ghosts of their survival strategies. So how did this code get written into our brains? Well, it all comes down to natural selection. It's pretty simple, actually. Any psychological quirk that gave our ancestors an edge, anything that helped them live long enough to have kids, got passed down. And over millions of years, those traits became a standard part of our mental hardware. Here's a perfect example of the mismatch. What are our most common phobias? Spiders and snakes, not guns or bombs, which are obviously way more deadly today. Why? Because for millennia, creepy crawlies were the immediate everyday threat. Our brains just haven't had time to update our threat detection software for the 21st century. It's out of date. So how does all this ancient software stuff connect back to our obsession with status? It's because, for our ancestors, survival was a team sport. Your life literally depended on being a valuable, respected member of your group. So let's take a look at how this cooperation code evolved. All right, so the first, most basic rule of this code is super simple. Look out for your family. It's called kin selection. The idea is that helping your relatives who share your genes is a smart move, evolutionarily speaking, even if it costs you personally. You're not just helping them, you're helping a part of you survive. And a biologist named W.D. Hamilton actually boiled this instinct down to a surprisingly simple formula, which we now call Hamilton's rule. It basically says an act of self-sacrifice makes sense if R times B is greater than C. R is your degree of relatedness, B is the benefit to them, and C is the cost to you. Let's make this real with a wolf pack example. It makes it super clear. Imagine an older wolf finds some food, just enough for her or for 5 starving pups. Now, if she's not related to them, her R value is 0. 0 times anything is 0, so the formula fails. She eats the food. But what if she's their aunt? She shares about 25% of their genes. Now the calculation flips. The benefit to her shared genetic legacy is suddenly greater than her personal cost. The logical, evolution-coded choice? She sacrifices the meal. Okay, fine. That explains why we help family. But what about strangers? Our whole civilization is built on us helping people we've never met and will probably never see again. What's the evolutionary logic there? Now this is where things get really fascinating. It's something called indirect reciprocity. The idea is that you help someone, not because you expect them to pay you back, but because you know that other people are watching. By being a good, helpful person, you build a reputation. And in a small social group, a good reputation is everything. It's social currency. It means someone else is way more likely to help you down the line. It's all a reputation game. So if reputation and status are basically survival currency, how do you show it off? How do you signal to everyone that you're powerful, that you're a valuable member of the tribe? Well, throughout history, humans have gotten really creative with this, and one of the most mind-blowing examples comes from medieval Europe. Behold, the medieval pipe organ. I mean, these things were absolute monsters. They weren't just instruments, they were feats of engineering. They could be 10 meters tall, with over 30,000 individual pipes. For their time, they were easily the most complex and expensive machines on the planet. I mean, really, stop and think about that. In an age with no electricity, no modern tools, why would you pour that much time, money, and genius into building an instrument? The answer? It was never really about the music. The pipe organ was the ultimate status symbol. It was a cultural icon, sure. It was a tool for spreading religious messages. But most importantly, it was a massive, thundering display of the church's power. A power that could even challenge kings. Its sheer size and complexity sent a very clear message to everyone who saw and heard it. We are dominant.
Okay, so we're all walking around with this ancient software telling us to climb the social ladder. And we're living in a world that's basically one giant status competition. Cars, jobs, Instagram feeds, they're all our modern-day pipe organs. So, what are we supposed to do about it? How do we live in this world without getting totally crushed by status anxiety?
Let's look at someone navigating this right now. Meet DJ Sarah Laundry. She's in the industrial techno scene, which, like any community, is its own kind of modern tribe. And that tribe has rules. It has expectations. She faces this constant pressure from purists and online critics who think she should do things their way. And her response, it's just the perfect antidote to all this status anxiety. She simply rejects the need for their approval. She says, I don't care what they think. I make music for me. She isn't ignoring her community, but she refuses to let its judgment control her. She's choosing to define success for herself. And that really brings us to the final point. Look, you can't just delete this ancient software. That drive for belonging, for status, it's a part of us. It's baked into our evolutionary code. But what we can do is become aware of it. We can understand why we feel that constant pull to compare and compete. And once you understand the code, you get a choice. You can choose how you respond to it. So the real question is, now that you know the code, how are you going to choose to run it?